Hellboy is a 2004 supernatural superhero film based on the comic book character created by Mike Mignola. The movie was produced by Revolution Studios and Dark Horse Entertainment. It was distributed by Columbia Pictures and directed by Guillermo del Toro. Now, as we celebrated the 25th anniversary of the comic book character, and also in preparation for the upcoming reboot in Hollywood, it is time for us to go back to the original film to see if it's still worth the watch or it's time to move on. In the next couple of minutes, we're going to find out. The good. Ron Pearlman as Hellboy is my favorite thing of this movie. It's my favorite thing, I would say, overall. I like him so much as the character that even when I read Hellboy comics, his voice in my mind, I read it with his voice in my mind. He definitely personifies the character with his mannerisms, with his attitude, with his presence, and definitely with his deep voice. The supporting cast is also excellent. You get to see Dr. Broom, Liz Sherman, Abe Sapien, and definitely I really enjoy the interactions there. It definitely is based on the comics, so definitely takes that from the comics into the film. I really like that. It definitely, the direction of the film and the interactions, although they're not as big, definitely are important and definitely personify the characters well. The film takes inspiration on the first two story arcs of Hellboy, Seed of Destruction and Wake the Devil, but also takes inspiration from other stories or particular small stories like The Corpse. Definitely I like that. The visual references are there, you know, the feeling is there. But what I really like about the film is that it really balances all of that, because some of these subjects, some of these themes are very dark, even in the comic books. But here they're managed well because there's a right balance of comedy and action, a little bit of romance, a little bit of drama, but all of that is put well together so it doesn't feel too heavy in one way or another. It really makes the movie entertaining, fun to watch, and any person, whether you are a comic book fan or not, whether you know Hellboy beforehand or not, you can connect with the film. Guillermo del Toro is a phenomenal director. He's a visionary. He really knows what he wants, and he accomplishes that in his films. He might not be as good in sometimes with the storytelling part, but when it comes about visuals, he's just good. And definitely you can feel that. The props, the CGI, the makeup, the costumes, locations, the camera shots, you know, some dark scenes, you know, all of that, the lighting, all of that really plays well and creates this atmosphere that feels truly authentic. The bad. BPRD director Tom Manning, played by Jeffrey Tambor, is truly an annoying character in this film. I really, some of the interactions that he has with Hellboy are really unnecessary in my opinion. I know he was brought for comic relief because, you know, you need some comic relief in a film that is dealing with dark themes. However, sometimes he was a bit overboard. And now, he's a good actor, don't get me wrong. I like him in so many other things. But here, of course, the way he was written, it was more like a charade. It was more like a, pretty much, he was more like a clown rather than a really important person in the film. Besides Hellboy's story, the movie vaguely addresses the backstory of some of the other characters. And definitely that was, I would say, a disappointment, at least for me. I know that it was done that way to move pretty much the script forward without really getting bogged down into, you know, a lot of information, which I understand. A lot of these films do that. But I felt that because of that, some of the motives of some of the characters are a bit vague and not as engaging or as interesting as I would like them to be. I do know the characters because I read the comics, but people that have never read the comics may find some of the villains really distant, particularly villains, because I think are the ones that suffer the most the lack of a proper backstory. Although the studio did a fantastic job with the CGI, it's important to remember that this was done 15 years ago. So it's a rudimentary in comparison with modern technology. We have come a long way in the past 15 years. So there's a great use of dark scenes, dark moments to kind of cover up for some of the pretty much the shortcomings or some of the defects within the CGI. But after so many years, you can still see them, and they're present there. But you know what? It's something that you have to keep in mind. This is not a new movie. 15 years is a long time, and definitely this film has some of that. In conclusion, Hellboy is a pioneer in the superhero genre. It was not only a superhero story, but also was the introduction of this darker teen character into the into the movies. Prior to that, I would say that they only have a dark character. We have Spawn, but this one, I think, in my opinion, was managed better than Spawn, and definitely was done well. Guillermo del Toro did a fantastic job in putting this film together, and definitely as a pioneer, it came even before a lot of stuff that came from Marvel or DC that had been here longer than this character. Even after all these years, this movie looks and sounds great. I love that. I love it because I can still watch it, and some movies, some older movies, you watch them and you can see the flaws right away, but here you don't. They're there, you can see them, but they're not bothersome as much as in other movies, even some newer movies. And definitely I like that because it's a great origin story that definitely plays well, and pretty much you can enjoy without a problem. Some viewers may find the dark elements, the mystical and occult elements of this film offensive. However, the movie managed to put it all together in a way that is not as strong in that department, but it's well balanced. And I really like that. So it is safe, I would say, for teenagers and for young adults. It does have lessons in regards to the true nature of our humanity and the power of choice. So if I have to give this movie a score, I would say it's an 8 out of 10. I really like this film. I really enjoy it. It was a pioneer in the genre, but also it was a great introduction to this character into pretty much to Hollywood, and definitely plays the part. I think it was something that really cements the opportunities, opened the door. It was not as financially successful as some people may like, but definitely it was in the beginnings of this genre where a lot of people were not given too much credit to these films. So I really enjoyed it after all these years. I really enjoy it. But what is your opinion? Do you like Hellboy? Have you watched Hellboy, or you haven't watched it yet? Please let me know. Do you like Hellboy as a character overall? Please share your thoughts. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification button so you're reminded of the next video. Follow me on social media. You can do that in Instagram and Twitter, Facebook. All the links are down below. And please consider supporting this channel financially. You can do so through Patreon, GoFundMe, and also through PayPal. Again, the links are down below. So once again, thanks for watching. God bless you, and I'll talk to you again. Bye-bye.